Hello, my love. I hope you're well. I wanted to share an experience with you that unfortunately I've had, and I don't want you to fall into the same trap if you've had childhood trauma. Recently, I met someone and I thought, oh, wow, yeah, good friend. Jeez, was I wrong? When you meet someone and you're getting along wonderfully, you feel safe and the false sense of comfortableness comes in and you start to be vulnerable. You let your guard down, you start to get to know each other, and you start to go into a deeper level, sharing stories, your past, your families. Then the elephant in the room comes up about childhood memories and stories. Why? You relax, drunk, and boom, your life story comes out. Instantly, you regret it, you want to cut your tongue out. Reminder, sitting drinking alcohol is not bonding, it's not sharing, it's a false sense of security, closeness, and it's blooming dangerous. Just because you have drinking in common, it does not mean that you have a deep, close bond and a connection. It's a false sense of security. Not long after we met, she started talking about family. Unfortunately, this is a really sore point for me. We got too deep and spilled out childhood trauma, including my CSA. See at the bottom what it means. She comforted me and made out that she was understanding. Nothing really happened, and we went back to talking and drinking, had a little cry, whatever, brushed off, carried on having fun. Then the next time we met up, she made a completely off the cuff, nasty, deep, hurtful remark. And it was just used in general conversation. I was like, wow. Her 3-year-old had been playing up and she just dropped it out like she was saying about something general every day. If Jimmy Savile was still alive, I would get him to come and take her away. Wow, that is a terrible thing to say. One, about your own child. You're actually wishing harm on that poor little innocent child, that someone would come, take them away and perform horrible, terrible things to them. What the hell is actually going through your mind, woman? Come on, I mean, something like that, that's really nasty and spiteful comment, and not just to me, but to her own child as well, her own flesh and blood. And it was done on spiteful purposefulness. That's what really got to me. It was really, really nasty, deep, but it was like in a matter-of-fact way. So I just brush it off, but she was waiting for my reaction to go boom at her, and I didn't. She was waiting and pushing my boundaries and waiting to see what my reaction was. What would you even say to something like that? I want to know your reaction, because I kind of just sat there flabbergasted, to be honest. I didn't know how to take it or what to say or anything. So in my politeness, I just moved on to the next subject because she'd got somebody else's kids down there as well. So anyway, I didn't realise it at the time, but she was testing my boundaries and trying to see how many of these nasty little jabs that she could get in when she could get into the conversations with me without me literally bursting at her. Not long after that, she came round to my house, and for some reason she's always really disrespectful when she comes round here. I just don't know what it is with her. The more she comes here, the more disrespectful she gets. I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or I don't know what's the matter with her. But she made a comment about my family yet again, saying that a person who had abused me must have been resentful for something that I've done to them in the past. And this night, it got under my skin. And I was drinking at the time, and I was sat having a drink at the time, and I could feel my fire in my stomach wanting to just go rah. And I didn't. I stood up and I said, I'm walking away from this conversation because literally I can't take it. So you're taking the side of my abuser. Anyway, I just walked away, and then she come out and she started making out that she was the victim and crying and all this, that and the other. And I got over it because I was like, whatever. I just can't be bothered with drama. I'm sick of the back teeth drama. I've had it all my bloody life and I'm sick of it. So I come up here and she followed me up, and I was taking the baby to school for her the next day. So anyway, whatever, it don't matter. So I calmed down, and we kind of just like forgot about it and moved on. But it was always there in the back of my mind, niggling me. Was it just me? Was I being too sensitive? Anyway, long story short, too late, I know. But there's been another few occasions where she's come round to my house, and I think it's 3 times now. This Jimmy Savile comment has actually come out. And the last time she came to my house, it wasn't even a planned visit. I've tried to keep my distance from her, to be honest, since this has all happened. And there's been other things as well that I could tell you about that you would just be like, get her out, don't even have anything to do with her. So she'd ordered something off online to be delivered, and then ended up coming up to my house to pick it up, which I wasn't pleased about, to be honest, because she hadn't even told me that she'd ordered it. She hadn't even given me 12 hours notice that this thing was actually coming to my house. She just expected me to go and pick it up for her, and then either me take it to her or her bring it, me take it to her or her come and get it. And I didn't really want her around here, to be honest. Anyway, I'm waffling, sorry. So again, I asked her how the baby was behaving when she did come round. I'd rang her up and woke her up because she tends to get drunk and then sleep it off during the day, which I ain't got no judgments on. I used to be terrible for it. Anyway, I asked her how the baby was, and again, that comment come out again. I actually thought at the time, what the hell is the matter with you? If Jimmy Savile was still alive, I would get him to come and take her 3-year-old at the time away. God, what's going on in your mind for you to say something like that? You know what I mean? It's just nasty and spiteful, but she did come out later on and tell me that she is spiteful. So anyway, all I tried to do is help her. I've babysit, I've looked after the dog, I've looked after her, I take her presents. Not saying that I'm a perfect friend or anything, because I'm not. I can be an arse sometimes as well, so I ain't going to sit here and preach. So anyway, all she does is use my trauma against me and to have nasty little jibes at me all the time. When she feels, the only way I can put it is I think she feels that she's beneath me and she has to try and bring me down to her level. Anyway, here are some of the things to remember if you are going to share or you've overshared. What you have to ask yourself when you meet somebody is, as I always keep on banging on in my videos, do they have the emotional capacity to meet you at your trauma and understand you? That's the thing you've got to remember. Even if they've had bad childhoods themselves, which she has. So that's the trouble. I thought I got this trauma bonding thing going on. And in reality, we're nothing alike. It's sent me one way and her another. And that's the thing you got to ask yourself. These people that we wonderfully get along with in the beginning, is that, are they taking their cues from you and mirroring you? That's what you've got to ask yourself. Will they then use that trauma against me, which in this case she has? Are they also narcissists and abusers with no empathy who wish harm onto you or others as well? Unfortunately, more people in this world these days are crueler than they are kind, and we've got to keep that in our mind. Do they even have the emotional capacity to feel anything other than cruelty? Because she has told me that she's spiteful. So the trouble was, she told me that afterwards. It happened quite early on into the relationship, and I really regret it. Which you shouldn't do with friends, should you? If they're real friends, you shouldn't regret it. So that's what you've got to remember. If you regret it, they're not friends. I know these are some ridiculous questions to ask yourself, but I don't want you falling into the same trap as I did and oversharing with the wrong person. Believe me, I've paid the price for it over the last 9 months. And when we meet someone, we never truly know their true intentions towards us. Especially, I personally find in the first 6 weeks, this is usually the time that it takes the mask to drop. Just because they've had a rough start and you start talking about your childhoods, do not by any means presume that they've had anything as bad as you did or any of the experience that you did. All of our experiences are different. When you share with the wrong person and they are inclined in any form of harming or manipulation or being spiteful to others, you're literally bleeding in front of a shark. Unfortunately, that's the way of the world, and that's the way of some people. And you're the main cause. Although, if you was a child and you could not help the abuse, these people see it as an open invitation that you're easy bait and you're a target. For some reason, if you've been abused before you've met these people, these evil people, they think that you're a pushover, and they're not realising that you can hold your own if you've been through childhood trauma. And yeah, they see your kindness as weakness, which is, God, that's devastating. Oversharing in itself, it's actually a trauma response, believe it or not. I actually was reading about it the other day. And we who've suffered from childhood trauma reveal more personal information than is socially appropriate, unfortunately, often because we have so much emotional pain that it literally spills out of us, more than we can cope with and know where to go. So when we meet somebody that we think we've got some sort of kindred spirit with, it can come out unintentionally. We've got to be mindful of ourselves. We are subconsciously, desperately seeking others' emotional connection and understanding and compassion, some sort of connection. Excuse me, that was a bike going past. I've got crap windows. Then we have someone who shows signs of childhood trauma. We presume that we are safe and we can share because they've been in the same boat as us. No, my love, I'm afraid not. It's exhausting out there. It's bloody jungle, and we can't always tell what other people's intentions are in our life. It takes a very, very special kind of person to empathise and truly, deeply understand your pain, honestly. It's probably a very emotionally intelligent and mature person that's going to understand you. And even if they've been through it themselves, what we have to remember when we're dealing with others and people is everybody's got their own experiences, everybody's got their own lives, and everybody's got their emotional depth. And not everybody, and I mean this sincerely, not everybody wants to take on your problems. Everybody's got problems of their own, and they see their own problems as bigger than yours. And everybody else's, they just want to stay in their own little world and they don't want to expand and help others. It takes a very experienced and insightful person to become whole with herself, that then they can look at others. As they say about the healers in it, the healers go through it themselves and then they help heal others, or supposedly the words go. But yeah, it's like I've said before, people haven't got the emotional capacity to hold your problems as well as their own, unfortunately. And there's some nasty people out there that are really going to use this against you. And unfortunately, Poppet, that's the thing with society as a whole these days, and especially a thing with the 80s, especially with CSA. People don't want to face it. It's nasty, it's seedy, it's underbelly dark crap. And if it ain't up to them, they don't want to know. They can't feel it, they can't see it. They sweep it under the rug, as they used to do in the 80s, which is very much what my so-called mother, oh, I don't know why I'm doing this, is what my so-called mother did to me. She basically denied it happened, so hence me never speaking to her since, which has been 18 years this year. Wow. So anyway, people don't want to face it. CSA is a dirty, disgusting thing, and unfortunately, we get tarnished by people that haven't been through it, and they see it as something that's just, it's not. They don't want to see that there is actually bad going on in the world, and they will just, whatever, it just means nothing. So especially if people can use it against you and turn it in the long run, your pain is their entertainment, unfortunately, and it pains me to say it, and it really upsets me. I could really get upset about it, but unfortunately that's the way of the world, isn't it? They see you as weak and vulnerable. If you've been through childhood trauma, like I've said before, it's a weakness. Although it's not your fault, and you can't carry that burden for the rest of your life because it's not fair. You've got to protect yourself and always be aware of what people are around you, unfortunately. Right, it's more than likely that if you've been through childhood trauma, unfortunately, you keep attracting these bloody people. If you're empathetic, these narcissistic, sociopathic, unfeeling and unempathetic people, pricks, keep on coming into your life, and it's just such an unconscious thing. You don't even realise it. But unfortunately, there's just so many people with personality types like that in the world these days. It's like I've said before, 1 in 4 people show narcissistic traits these days. 1 in 25 people are sociopaths. 1 in 25 people. Think back to 25 people that you've known. Scary, isn't it? Would you go around and tell at least one of 25 of these people that you've been abused as a child? No. Scary, isn't it? So you've got to protect yourself, and you've got to, anybody could put a mask on. You look at Ted Bundy. He was one of the most charismatic, nice, charming people that you could ever wish to meet, and he turned out to unalive a lot of people. So yeah, just be careful out there. It's a dangerous place. Do not trauma bond. That is one of the worst things you can do. Trauma bonding. Like I said before, if they've had a rough childhood and you've had a rough childhood, it could have sent them in the opposite way. I've sat and spoke with people, sociopaths, about their rough childhoods, and you feel sorry for them. But they've decided to go completely opposite way. It's not their fault. I'm not going to sit here and say it is, because it's the difference between genetics and upbringing and everything as well. So there's no empathy or compassion. Trauma bonding is bloody dangerous with the wrong person. Like I've said, it's like bleeding in front of a shark. And narcissists will use it to lure you in, and they will make you think that they are like you. What you have to remember is that these abusers actually use trauma bonding to bond with you. And especially in a romantic relationship, they will use the trauma to get the claws in and keep you. So you've got to remember, it's a good starting point. Ask deeply whether you can connect with this person. You've got to ask yourself honestly whether you trust them 100%. If they keep on asking about your family, that's a big red flag. That's what abusers do. They've got to dig. They've got to try and find something to use against you, for you. And especially if they keep on asking if you're going to reconnect with them, because if somebody's abused you and you've told them the reason that you're not speaking to them, they're hoarding AP, and then they're still asking you whether you're going to reconnect with them. Seriously, you've got an abuser on your hands, haven't you? So honestly, any normal person would understand that you want nothing to do with your abuser or your abusive family, and you've got to cut them out of your life. There's no other option. Sorry, they've got to go. And if these people are trying to bring them back into your life, then what are you going to do? You can tell from a mile away when you've overshared with the wrong person, believe me. They keep asking about your family, digging around, asking, looking at pictures, comparing you to other people. Basically, they're trying to rub salt into the wound to hurt you even more, and by constantly bringing your trauma and your past. You know then that, unfortunately, they're just not a good person. If anybody asks you whether you're going to reconnect, just walk away from them. Try your hardest not to get too close to them too quickly. That's what they rely on. Presence, getting too close, spending hours and hours and hours with you, coming to your house, crossing your boundaries. So don't, please, for the love of God, don't trauma dump. Trauma dumping will not make you feel better in the long run. If anything, it will make you feel worse. It depends on your situation and the person, obviously. You have probably got some trusted people around you. The only problem is with me, I don't trust anybody, which is a big thing for me. I thought I could trust this person because I don't trust anybody. And then I've met this person and I thought, oh yeah, we really get along. She's literally like nobody I've ever met. All she was doing was mirroring me. And then come the, oh, you're amazing, you're wonderful, you should share yourself with people, and then come with the nasty comments afterwards. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I fell for this again. But still, I don't know. Never mind. It's done now. There's not really much I can do about it. I fell into this trap with this person and I mistakenly shared something that I really shouldn't have done. But what got me was she'd been in foster care and she was adopted. Because we both had that childhood trauma, I thought we had a traumatic childhood in common. And I supposedly, naively thought that this would somehow put us on the same page. Oh God, was I wrong? Big mistake. She was the victim and had been hurt through her childhood, and I shared mine. And it wasn't until much, much later that we were talking and she told me what a horror of a child she was. And being spiteful on purpose, and this is why her alcoholic mother couldn't cope, hence the foster care. So in fact, instead of us being on the same page, we were in completely different libraries. Just because someone's had a rough time and a rough childhood, do not just presume that they had it bad. It's like homeless people. Don't just presume, oh, it's a shame because they're out on the street. It might be their own making. Stop just presuming that people are good. I know that's an awful thing to say, and I don't mean to say it nastily, but oh my God, people have got such hidden intentions these days. So, and they're like making other people's lives hell, unfortunately. Or they could be lying to you and making up this twisted fantasy so they then become the victim and you are lured into their fantasy world. Unfortunately for me, alcohol equals trauma bonding, plus trauma bonding, and thinking I had found somebody who was good and they was just mirroring me. Led to my downfall, believe me, and a demeaning position to be within the relationship. And now she's going to be going to a wedding in August with my neighbours who are the landlord's son. So I'm sitting here wondering now whether I'm going to be the topic of conversation. It's a nasty, nasty situation I've been put in. And I just don't want you falling for the same people and falsities and fluffiness that they perceive to the world when they're not. So hence me no longer participating in alcohol or our cosy little chats. And since I've given up alcohol in January, she don't invite me around anymore. And when she comes around here, she brings alcohol. So as the relationship's progressed, the nasty little comments about my past have got worse. And I've actually come to a point now where I don't even want a relationship with that. Actually, to be fair, over the last couple of months now, it's dwindling and dwindling and dwindling. And I was supposed to be going out with her yesterday, and But I just don't want it anymore. I just don't want to spend any time with her because she lied to me again as well. Anyway, we're talking about childhood trauma and sharing. I'm sorry, I'm going off on a kilter here. Anyway, we've got to be very self-aware, very compassionate with ourselves again, as I was saying. And you've got to stop letting these people make you feel small and helpless about your past that you could actually do nothing about at the time. They're just using it to hurt you because they feel beneath you. This is the only way that they can hurt you, is to use your past against you. And let's face it, if they're using your past against you, they're abusers themselves, especially when they tell you that they killed their goldfish with bleach because they wanted a hamster. That was after I told her. Just when you think you've met somebody that you can confide in, be comfortable with, and be friends for life, they end up taking out that knife and stabbing you right in the back and wishing that you'd never actually met them. And I'd gone over to help her when I met her. But the only good thing to come out of this is it gives you material for YouTube videos. You always look on the bright side of the thing. You've got to, you can't just keep on taking it seriously. There's always some sort of experience that comes out of the things, the lessons or the blessings. That's what you've got to remember. That's the saying how it goes anyway, Annette. What she doesn't actually realise with me is that I have dealt with these kinds of people my whole life. So I'm actually a bloody expert in it now. And I don't want to be. So I've got a bit of a rhino skin and it doesn't actually hurt me anymore. I just think to myself, what the hell is the matter with you? Out of it. So yeah, if it was anybody who was not strong-minded enough like myself, then it could have really cut deep and it could have set somebody back years and even made them not want to be here anymore, let alone every day that they've got to live with that then, that person sat there and said that to them. This is the thing that these sorts of people don't even realise and they don't even care about. They don't care about your feelings because they're only focused on themselves. They're so self-centred. She's actually told me that she's spiteful and mean on purpose because she likes it, because it makes her feel better about herself. I wish she'd told me that beforehand, but she wouldn't, would she? Because it's all a mask. But the gut-wrenching fact is about all this is it didn't happen till months down the line. I overshared way too quickly. And it was my mistake because I felt like I'd met somebody that I could trust. But I didn't. And I utterly regret it now. Hence, me not wanting anything to do with her, really. I will do the niceties. I will look after a dog in a few weeks when she goes on holiday. Because I love the dog. She's had her since she was a puppy and I can't turn my back on her and the baby. So for their sake, they're the only ones that are keeping me around her, to be honest. But anyway, this is one good thing about the abusers. You can take the experience that they give you and you either think to yourself, I don't want to be anything like that person, and just switch it up. You have to not overshare and regret it later, because I do. Anyway, I think I'm waffling now. So all I'll say is be aware of yourself and be mindful and look at who you can trust and who you can't. Because take a while to get to know somebody. Don't just put it all out on the table. Trust takes years to build, not just a couple of weeks. Don't think that you can build it with somebody just within a week or two of meeting them, because you don't know who they are. It takes a long time to build trust. If these people are nasty and using it against you, they'll try and slightly push your boundaries every time you see them. And they'll say that they want to meet up, and what they want to do really is just play you. So just back off. Let them live their miserable little lives in their own little world. And just don't overshare. Don't ever, ever minimise your trauma if you've been through childhood trauma, because this is what abusers do. They'll take you and they will minimise what they've done to you, and they will try and make it look like you're overreacting. And they will carry on the abuse by testing your boundaries and seeing what they can get out of you and do to you. So don't let them shame your inner child like the bully that they are. Do not let them invalidate your experiences. If they do not respect you or your trauma, let them go. Your life is better off without them. There's 8 billion people in the world that are better people than they are, so just let them go. Don't let them make you relive your trauma all over again and shame your inner child, because it just brings up an array of feelings and emotions that you don't want to live through again, all because you've shared it with somebody else. There are people out there that make you feel bad for it. So yeah, if you feel like you need to talk to somebody, go to a therapist. Honestly, that's probably the best thing you can do. Therapy hasn't been working for me. I went once and it just brought up a whole shitstorm, basically. Sorry to swear. And I couldn't deal with it. It was just all too much to get out all in one go. And that's what's annoyed me with this, is I was trickling and yeah, anyway. Misery loves company, as they say, innit? And they'll feast on your misery. And if they're mean and spiteful, they want you to suffer as bad as they suffer, because they just suffer inside their minds all the time, don't they? And these people will weaponise your trauma against you. It's their entertainment, especially romantic partners over time as well. So don't open up easily to anyone. Don't let anyone in easily. And I'm sharing this with you because I got burnt thinking it was safe to open up to someone. And do I regret it? Anyway, I'm going back to isolation. I'm going back to my hermit mode. I'm not speaking to people again. So your trauma and experiences are very, very valid. Don't let anyone take that away from you, and you're unique, because someone who went through something similar won't use it against you anyway. So I think on that note, like I've said before, if you want any other subjects for me to cover, then drop it in the comments and I will take a look and share some for you. So yeah, I think we're going to wrap this one up for today. But oversharing, anything really, it's not just your childhood trauma, it's your finances, your life, your relationship with your significant other. We're living in a very unkind world these days, unfortunately, and people don't want to understand. And they don't want to get better, and they don't want to help people. It's very few people out there that actually want to help. But the one thing you have to remember is be good. Don't turn like these people. Don't be like them. They've got to sit themselves every day, their spitefulness, that nastiness, that misery every day that's eating them away. So it's like I've said, misery loves company. Don't be like them. Just win every day, knowing that you will never turn out like that person. That's the way to look at it. You've got to be able to live with yourself, and it's like I say every night, if I can put my head on my pillow with a clear conscience, I know I'm winning. And that's, I've had people say rumours about me, and I'm like, yeah, you carry on. If that's what you feel in your mind, okay, I'm fine there. I'm fine with my peace, because I know that at the night time, I'm quite happy with myself. I could put my head on a pillow of a night. Anyway, again, I'm rambling. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And thank you very much for listening. And just be careful out there. And until next time, like and subscribe. And I love you very much. And I will see you soon. Bye.